Here in week 7, day 2 of our study in Joshua, we're looking at Joshua chapter 10, verses 1 through 15, which is the freaky story about Joshua fighting a battle in which God stops the sun so he can finish taking on his enemies. It starts out telling us that there's a king of the city of Jerusalem who'd heard all the news already. He knew they had defeated Jericho. He knew they'd slaughtered Ai eventually. He'd even heard about the Gibeonites' trick that had been played on him. And all this alarmed him. So he goes and gets 4 other kings of medium to large size cities to be his allies. They're referred to as the 5 Amorite kings. And instead of taking on Israel, they initially say, let's go take out Gibeonites. They're his allies, and let's go take care of them first. So while the Gibeonites hear about it, they let Joshua know, oh, please don't fail us now. We know we tricked you when we made a deal, but we really need your help. So Joshua brings the whole army. They march all night and they show up and they slaughter the 5 Amorite kings. In fact, it tells us that God participates in that slaughter. He throws the enemies into confusion. He rains down giant hail on their heads. In fact, it says that more were killed from these hailstones than were killed from the Israelite swords. And then, in response to Joshua's prayer, he actually halts the sun. Now, there's a lot we could say about this, but let me just say, this all depends on your worldview. Most of us in the West have grown up with a scientific, materialistic worldview, which says that God created the universe, and he created the laws of the universe, and then he just kind of lets it go. And so everything should have, at best, if God exists at all, it should have a scientific explanation. And on the other side, we get countries who we would say maybe have a superstitious worldview in which things are happening all the time. The interaction between God and man, everything has a reason. It reminds me of a women's group that I heard about once where one of the ladies fell down a staircase and went through a plate glass window and got all cut up bad. And their response was, look, the enemy shoved her down the steps. Now, I don't know what happened there, but that's a superstitious worldview, and a scientific worldview person would go like, yeah, that's why we don't believe the Bible. But I want you to see here, the Bible is about a cooperation between these two. God does give the universe reasonable, rational, scientific moorings, but he reserves the right to poke his head into human history at any point and sovereignly do whatever he wants to do, including stopping the sun.